What's up, everybody? Kafka here, and today we're talking about Path to Exile 2. We know what the Sorcerer is in Diablo 4, and we wanted to do some research around what the Sorcerer is in Path to Exile 2. Path to Exile 2 is an ARPG, just like Diablo. It is coming out on December 6th. December 6th, it will be an early access beta. You can pay $30 to play it, and eventually when the game comes out, it will be free to play. I'm just intrigued by this Sorcerer versus the Sorcerer in Diablo. And man, after watching this video, it made me really want to try out the Sorcerer in Path to Exile. Comment down below. What do you guys think? Should Kafka play some Path to Exile 2? I think it'd be a lot of fun. So we're gonna play the video and talk about it a little bit. But man, this guy does a really good job explaining what the Sorcerer is. So here we go.
We have some skills here that you'll probably recognize if you've played PoE1 before, but they feel a bit different to play now. Spark is great in these tight passages since it bounces around. We've added a Pierce support gem to really allow it to hit an entire room of targets. For a more single target focused skill, Arc is a good choice. It does more damage to the first target you hit. Now, if you find yourself surrounded, it might be good to use Ice Nova. It hits all enemies around you and slows them down with chill. Just be careful.
That was kind of like a chain lightning, which actually looked really cool. So
getting up close and personal isn't the ideal place for a Sorceress to be. He doesn't have the defenses of a more melee-oriented character. If you want to help with the Sorceress's weak melee defense though, you could use Arctic Armor. In PoE 2, Arctic Armor is a buff that builds up as you stand still. You can see the ice crystals forming around the character. They'll drop off if you walk. When monsters hit you, they take cold damage and build up to a freeze, so it's a great defense. Just be careful. You have to be standing still for a little while to get the full effect, so trying to stutter step isn't the best strategy. Now, Arctic Armor is an ongoing buff, but did you notice it didn't reserve any mana?
also too, you got to remember this is like very early, so this is why it's a little bit slower. This is like basically level, who knows, maybe like 10 or 12 or something small. This isn't a high level portion of the game.
How does that work? Well, we were pretty sick of the fact that in PoE1 basically every character was playing with no mana pool, so we decided to change the way that reservation works. There's a new resource in PoE2 called Spirit. Spirit is a dedicated resource you can use for ongoing effects like Arctic Armor, Heralds, Auras, or even Minions. Everyone starts with 100 Spirit, which is enough for most ongoing effects.
So you've seen the Spirit, they hovered over it. So Spirit is going to be like all your basic abilities. So if you think about Diablo, like all your shields that you're putting on, you know, all your like war cries, all that stuff, you're going to have Spirit now for those. So it doesn't take abilities away from your main cast and damage, which I think is actually really cool.
But if you want more than one effect, you're going to need some more Spirit. Spirit is available on mods from items and on the passive tree. But if you're willing to give up your offhand slot, the easiest way to get it is by holding a scepter. Now, if you want to increase the cold damage you're dealing, you can use a Frost Bomb. It places a bomb on the ground that reduces the enemy's cold resistance while it's ticking down. It's a great opportunity to use some cold skills before it explodes. And speaking of cold skills, a great skill to use on monsters with the slower cold resistance is Comet. This is a new skill in PoE2, and it hits pretty damn hard. It costs a lot of mana and has a really long cast time, but it's worth the wait. It does a devastating amount of damage. To help get you out of danger, your character moves back slightly as it casts.
Dude, those comments look so sweet. Look at those comments.
It's pretty hard to hit a fast-moving opponent, but it's great on tougher enemies that stand still, or even a larger pack if you're further away and can predict where they're going to move. Now, if you run out of mana casting too many of those, I guess in an emergency you could cast your free-to-cast Fireball. Where did that come from, you ask? Well, this is a great opportunity to explain the way we've changed caster weapons in PoE2. Now, in PoE1, caster weapons had a default melee attack that nobody used, and because they had that, they also had a bunch of attack mods that would spawn in them that were useless to a caster. In PoE2, we wanted to clean that up, so now each staff comes with a built-in free-to-cast spell.
So if we hovered over that, let me go back. It says grants a level 10 fireball skill. So you have this staff and it has a basic skill on it. All of them are going to have some kind of extra skill you could use on it. I think that's awesome.
Free to cast spell. Just put it on and spam to your heart's content. Now this particular staff is the base type that you get right on the starting beach, and it's quite likely that you're going to
First staff you'll get.
So that's why we have a lot of staves with more utility-focused powers for casters to use. Here we have a crystal staff.
Grants a rank 1 unleash skill. Let's see what that does.
It's got a pretty cool built-in spell called Unleash. Using it slams your staff on the ground and will allow you to triple cast whatever you cast with your next spell. Now of course you're probably going to want to use that with something powerful.
Look at that comment. You smacked your staff on the ground and now you triple cast the skill. How? That's so innovative. What is going on? Innovative. Why can't we do that in Diablo? That is so cool. That is the coolest thing ever. Look at that. I'm gonna do it again. We're going back. We're going back.
And will allow you to triple cast whatever you cast with your next spell.
Now we're gonna cast comments.
You're probably going to want to use that with something powerful. And Comet is a great
that is so freaking cool. What the heck?
Unleash is one of the few skills in PoE 2 with a cooldown. In general, we really try to avoid using cooldowns because we really hate the feeling that combat is just waiting to be able to use your next skill. But it does make sense for Unleash since it's free to cast and it's something we want you to be using situationally anyway.
Unleash is dope.
Now, if you're facing something tough, you might want to try out Mana Tempest. Mana Tempest creates a circle of power in which your character literally hovers over the ground. While in the circle, your mana drains, but it powers up all of your spells. Lightning projectiles fork, beams chain further, and you'll also do a lot more damage.
Look at that. The innovation, man. The innovation is absolutely insane there. Look how freaking cool that is. No way. It charges up all your abilities. So you change your abilities by casting an ability. How sick is that, guys? You just stand in the circle. Look at that. You stand in the circle. Look at them. They're shooting out everywhere. Creating flames of damage. I don't know. I think it's cool.
So with all of these skills, here's a great combo to try. First, cast Frostbomb to reduce the target's cold resistance. Then use Mana Tempest to increase your damage. Follow it with Unleash, and then triple cast the Comet to do a truly insane amount of damage.
Okay. So you see that there? That's the difference, right? There's not too many builds in Diablo where you need to sequence abilities to make extra damage. I mean, there is some. Cast an Ice Arbor and you'll do Storm Swell and you'll have more damage. But he did 3 things there to increase his damage, 3 rotations, and it was beautiful.
I need more time.
This rare monster dropped an uncut gem. This is a good opportunity to talk about how skill gems drop in PoE 2. Instead of dropping specific gems, you can find uncut gems. Just right-click on them and pick whatever skill you want. The gem will come pre-lit.
Uncut gems kind of feel like maybe glyphs, a little bit like glyphs, kind of. It unlocks skills though, so we'll see.
To the level of the area that dropped it, so it's a lot easier to change between skills in PoE 2. This time, I think it might be cool to grab one of our meta gems. Meta gems are skills that can have other skills socketed into them, changing how they work. In this case, we're going to select Cast on Shock. Now, let's equip this thing in the skill screen and choose a spell to trigger with it. I think Comet might be fun. Because Cast on Shock reserves Spirit, we'll need to first disable our Arctic armor. We have to decide if we'd rather have the extra defense or the extra offense of the Cast on Shock using our Spirit. In PoE 2, trigger gems use a system of filling up cast time on each trigger. Basically, if a skill has a short cast time, then we'll trigger it really often. If it's got a long cast time, like this.
All right, we can see it going up 20, 40, 30%, or 30, 40% up top left corner.
Comet here. It will take a lot longer to trigger. You can see up the top left that there's a counter that says how far it is until your next trigger. And there you are. Using Cast on Shock with automatically cast.
Okay, so comments were coming down. I like it.
So we've found the generator. Time to power it up.
The animation. That's pretty dope animation right there. Alright, found the generator. You could really customize,
Power is
man.
restored to the mechanarium. All the constructs are coming back to life. We'll need to fight them on the way back to the charged Soul Core. One thing that PoE 1 players might have noticed is that this character has both ice and lightning spells. That's pretty inefficient, isn't it? It's a big no-no for most builds because any specialization into cold or lightning isn't going to affect the other element. And generic elemental damage increases are not going to be as powerful as focusing on a single element.
So what he's saying there is normally when you choose a lightning skill and you go all lightning powers, you know, you want your passives to work with lightning because you'll do more damage. So if you have both lightning and ice or frozen skills, then they wouldn't do as much damage because the damage would get spread.
Well, in PoE 2, we have another major new system to introduce to solve these kinds of problems, and it starts with weapon swap. Now in PoE 1, weapon swap isn't really used much for its originally intended use case. We imagined that people were going to be swapping in and out between different weapons to deal with whatever situation they were in. People just don't do that at all, and a large reason for that is because it's really awkward to do. In PoE 2, we wanted to solve that. The staff Octavian is using here has an ice mod on it that makes it great for when he's using his ice spells. We would also like to be able to make sure that the build works just as well for his lightning spells. If Octavian equips his previous staff in his second weapon set, you can see that it appears on the character's back. Now we're going to open up the skills screen. If Octavian opens up the skill options for his lightning skills, you can see here that you can choose which weapon sets are usable with each skill. First, we uncheck set 1 from being used by his lightning skills. Then, we go through the cold skills and turn those off with his lightning weapon.
So basically what he's doing there is making every lightning skill work with one staff and every ice skill work with a different staff.
Now, when we use Spark, the character will automatically switch to the lightning staff on his back and then use the skill. When Octavian uses Ice Nova, his character automatically switches over to his ice staff before using it. Figure each skill for which set to use, or both if you
Look at
don't
him
know
switch the
which.
staffs.
There's a
He's
very
switching the
short time
staffs.
penalty to switching, so it can be good to leave some skills
Wow.
on both sets if it doesn't matter which weapon set
Wow.
you're using.
Mind blown.
But we still have the problem of passives. Wouldn't it be nice if we could specialize in both cold and lightning passives on the character? Well, in PoE 2, you can.
Oh my gosh.
We're on the passive skill screen here. And
Stop
you can see
it.
that we're close to both a cold and a lightning cluster. At the top right of the screen, you can see where we have some weapon set specific points to allocate. If Octavian holds shift, he can allocate set 1 to the cold passives. And then allocate set 2 to the lightning passives. Now check this out. As we weapon swap, our passive tree changes from one build to the other automatically. Whenever we cast the appropriate spell, the character's passives reconfigure
That's
on the fly.
insane.
Correct build for that spell.
It changes your skill tree
Now, you can't do this
based
with
on
every
the
passive
staff
on
and
the tree.
ability you're
Only points
using.
granted from skill books will allow this kind of dual specialization. So you can't change from a mace-slamming warrior into a fire elementalist with the press of a button, but it certainly increases the number of options you have for builds.
Wow.
There's a huge number of places where the system can shine. You could
That
augment
is
your
so
Dagger
cool.
Shadow build with traps, or have a great curse setup on your witch in one spec, and then move to your chaos debuff spells with the other. It really opens up your options.
I need more time.
Are we making a comet sorcerer? Are we doing it? Are we doing it? Man, are you kidding me? This is crazy.
Another fun meta gem to try out is called Barrier Invocation. This works a little bit like the trigger gem I talked about before, but this one charges up as your energy shield is hit by monsters. I think we might like to put an Ice Nova in this one. The more energy shield you lose, the more charge builds up until the point where you're able to cast the skill you socketed instantly.
Let's see how
Lose
this
some energy
works.
shield, and then at just the right time invoke Ice Nova to cast all the stacked up versions in one cast. If you keep losing shield, you'll build up even more charge for even more casts, so it's a great defensive option in an emergency.
Customization, man. It's crazy. The customization is wild. No freaking way. I love it. Where's the teleport, though? I didn't see a teleport. I think he uses it on the boss. Fights a boss. I think we gotta master this sorcerer,
Here we are,
guys.
back at the
What do you
charged
think?
Soul Core. All we have to do now is take it. How hard could that be?
Then I want you guys to see this boss fight too. This boss fight's
Now
crazy.
we just have to remove it from that construct. I'll, give that to you.
Look at this boss fight. Wow. I think it's really cool, man. And this is just like the beginning of the game. This isn't like end game stuff. This is just like the introduction. The Warden of the Core. I don't know, man. I think they got some good stuff going on with Path of Exile. I think it's going to be a fun game. Comment down below if you're a Diablo player and you try out this game. That's what I want to know. It looks good. And they waited. They pushed back the game because they want to make it right. December 6th. It was going to be the 15th. They pushed it back to make sure it comes out clean and it's enjoyable for everyone to play, which I could appreciate that. But the Sorcerer looks absolutely fantastic. There's some pretty cool mechanics on this guy. Look at him go. The skill tree doesn't look like crazy too. Like it does not like PoE 1. I think they toned it down a little bit. It looks a lot better. All right, he's almost dead. He's almost dead. Get him. Staggered. Boom. There he goes. There he goes. And get some loot.
That's Path of Exile 2.
So I don't know. I think it's gonna be pretty cool, man. I think it'd be something we should check out. So comment down below. What do you think? Thanks for watching the Sorcerer of Path of Exile 2. It looks really fun, and I will see you in the next video.